Welcome back to Love Sex LA Unfiltered. I'm Alexandria, and we're here with episode 5. And this is part 1 of a little series I've put together called If He Wanted to, He Would, or Would He? And getting into that, I feel like so much has happened in the past week and a half. I mean, we've had, Team Conrad versus Team Jeremiah. I want to say I have always been, from the very beginning, I have stood on business Team Conrad from day one, okay? If you were Team Jeremiah, you were also Team Aiden Shaw, and I'm a little concerned about you. So we'll be getting into that in a second. And we've had the CEO at the Coldplay concert. Like, I just feel like it's been very chaotic, and I'm blaming Mercury retrograde. We're in a retrograde right now, and so like things feel kind of crazy. I think the whole CEO and his mistress at the Coldplay concert. First of all, I'm a little confused why you would take your affair to a public Coldplay concert, but that's a separate side whole ordeal. But that goes into the exact theme of this week. If he wanted to, he would, because that man had an entire, family, wife and kids. He was the CEO of a company, and he somehow managed to take her to a Coldplay concert. Plus, I went on a date this weekend, and it definitely added fuel to this conversation. But getting into if he wanted to, he would, the phrase that we all love to post and talk about online. But is it true? Is it toxic? Is it somewhere in between? Is it possible that some people want to, but they don't know how? We're going to get into it. I'm going to get right into it with, I think, one of America's biggest debates this summer. And I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about climate change. I'm not talking about, any upcoming elections. I'm talking about the summer I turned pretty. Team Jeremiah versus Team Conrad. And I do want to say this. The nice guy is not always the good guy. And I think a lot of people have mistaken Jeremiah as a good guy because he put on that nice guy facade from day one. And, you have like Team Conrad people like myself who are also, I would say Team Conrad people are also Team Mr. Big people. They're Team Edward Cullen people. They're Team Chuck Bass people. While the Team Jeremiahs are definitely Jacob Black from Twilight people. They're Nate Archibald people. And they're Team Aiden Shaw people. And I'm just not here for it. I'm not here for the fake nice guy. And I think people are seeing it more and more in The Summer I Turned Pretty, Jeremiah cheated. Aiden Shaw and just like that, cheated. Like I said, the nice guy is not always the good guy. And maybe there's people like Conrad and Mr. Big who come off narcissistic or, emotionally unavailable. But you know what they always are? They're always transparent. They're always honest. And they're never fake. That's the one thing you do have to say about them. And I would rather someone tell me they are a storm than pretend they are sunshine and it be a complete lie, okay? If you are a Team Conrad, that means that you like the emotional ones. And sometimes, yes, okay, they are flawed. They might be guarded, but when they actually open up to you, it means something. The overly eager golden retriever, Team Jeremiah, putting on that facade, like that to me is so fake that they end up showing their true colors very quickly. So maybe, yes, if he wanted to, he would. But I think the guy that is faking that he wants to is way more dangerous than the guy who admits he can't. So yes, I am Team Conrad. I am standing on business. And I'm sorry, if you're Team Jeremiah, I just don't get it. I've never understood it. I've never understood the Aiden Shaw, Team Jeremiah, golden retriever. Ugh. And the next time you're justifying a man's actions, like saying, oh, he's just too busy, or, maybe he didn't see my text, whatever your excuse is, I want you to remember the CEO at the Coldplay concert. Like I mentioned earlier, that man had a wife, kids, and a full-time job as the CEO of a company. And somehow he managed to fit in time to take his HR-ridden love affair to a Coldplay concert, which also that's the whole thing about that. It's weird to me. It's obviously wasn't just a physical affair of two people that were physically attracted to each other. That was we have a playlist together. We have things in common type of affair where they were at a Coldplay concert. So next time you are, almost gaslighting yourself and trying to convince yourself, oh no, he's just busy. He has a job. No, so did the CEO. The CEO had a job, a wife, and kids. And, with kids comes, let's talk about it, like sporting events or, dinners with the wife. And somehow he still managed to make time for the HR mistress. So, yes, if he wanted to, he would. And next time you try to say otherwise, I want you to remember the astronomer CEO. Detaching from all the, news that came in this week, let me just get into the main theme. If he wanted to, he would, or would he? And my initial answer is yes. If he wanted to, he absolutely would. I want you to think about it. Men, they are hunters, they are chasers. Hundreds of years ago, they were running around in loincloths, hunting for their dinner. And they still have that in them, okay? They still have that in them. Let's take dating out of it for a second. Let's talk about sports. You've seen how fanatical a man can get about another man running down a field in spandex with a ball in his hand, okay? And, they have jerseys with their names on their back and, they dedicate an entire Saturday to watching their favorite college football team, whatever it is. And when it comes down to it, if their favorite team ends up in some sort of championship game, whether it is the World Series for baseball or some sort of basketball championship or the Super Bowl for football, they would literally sell a kidney to get there. They will travel across the country, cash in a favor, whatever it takes to make it happen, to see their favorite sports team and team players. You are the fucking Super Bowl. You need to treat yourself like you are the Super Bowl because you are that special, and a man should be willing to chase you down like you are his favorite sports team in a championship game, okay? And you might not be his team, but you are someone's. So by settling for a person that's not willing to put in the effort to make it happen, you are blocking yourself from the person you deserve and the person who's willing to make it happen with you. Have you ever seen the movie He's Just Not That Into You? Because I think this is the perfect example of how a lot of time women make excuses, and at the end of the day, if a man wants to, he will. It's not that complicated. And listen, I'm not saying he doesn't like you. Like, he might like you, he might be nervous or intimidated and whatever, but those aren't excuses for him not to pursue you, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, those are weak excuses for a guy. And do you really want a guy who's incapable of pursuing you, no matter the reason? So at the end of the day, I really believe if he wanted to, he will. And let me tell you a little story, and I swear this connects. Okay, so let me first off start off by saying that I hate flying. So I was on an airplane and there was a guy sitting next to me and there was turbulence. And like I said, I hate flying. Like, I just think it's so unnatural and so weird. You're defying gravity in a metal tube in the sky with a bunch of strangers. Like, if God wanted me to fly, he would have given me wings. And I have feet, not wings. So we were flying, there was turbulence. And like, when I'm nervous, I start talking. So I started talking to the man next to me and I was like, is this normal? Like, because I really do, like, I get so nervous from like even just a little bit of turbulence. And so I turned to the man, he was in the window seat, I was in the middle, and I was like, is this normal? And he looked at me and he kind of just gave me a blank stare and he didn't answer. But then he pulls his phone out and he starts typing on his phone on this like translator app. He didn't speak English. So he starts typing on his phone and we kind of were just going back and forth. And I was like explaining to him, like, I don't like flying, blah, blah, blah. So we were talking about the flight and then it starts to get like kind of personal. Like, he's telling me where he's from, all that stuff, whatever. We land, 2 hours go by after landing and I get a message request on my Instagram, okay? And I click the profile and it's the guy from the airplane. Now listen, we did not exchange names, like no information, nothing. And I thought, this is the perfect example of if he wanted to, he would. Because this guy had no information about me. Like, I don't know how he found me, but he did. And he like found a way to do it. See, if a man wants to communicate with you, if he wants to talk to you, if he wants to pursue you or take you out, he will make it happen. A language barrier did not stop this man from finding my Instagram. So listen, there are no excuses. Another example is I went on a date this weekend. I matched with a guy on an app called The League. And like, this was my first like I haven't gone like on an official date like this in a long time. And so we match on The League. I think it was like a Thursday. And he, within the hour, asks me out, makes the plans, gives me the date, time, location, the whole thing. Then Friday, he texts me and confirms and says, "Are you still good for tomorrow?" So I confirmed that. And I was like, "Okay, that's cute. That's good." And then Saturday, he texts me before the date and he's like, "No girls ever say yes to this anymore, but do you want me to pick you up? Do you need a ride, or do you just want to meet there?" And I'm like, "You know what? We're going to set the standard right now." And like, listen, he's showing himself. He's showing like if he wanted to, he would. He's offering to give a ride. So I'm like, "Listen, I don't follow trends. So yeah, I'll take a ride. You can pick me up." So he's like, "Okay, cool. I like that." Because people don't really, and I get why people don't like getting picked up anymore. There's so many crazies in the world that like you can't trust anyone. But so he picks me up. He shows up to my house before the date. And listen, I give this guy a lot of credit. I come from a very big Armenian family, and he showed up and he met all of them. I mean, I hadn't even met him yet, and whatever. But my whole point is, if it's the right person, or, if it's a good person, they will put in the effort, they will make the time, they will pick you up for the date, and they will communicate with you. And this guy showed that. So far, he's got green flags going. I'm going to give him like one big green flag right now. He actually just texted me. He just texted me right now. No, I'm serious. He just texted me and he asked me out for Thursday. See, if he wanted to, he would. At the end of the day, I really believe if a man wants to pursue you, he absolutely will. And I posted this on my Instagram as a questions. Do you believe if he wanted to, he will? And I think almost everyone, maybe like one or two people, they all answered yes. If he wants to, he will. Men and women both said that. And listen, do I believe like sometimes maybe a man needs a nudge? Maybe, yeah, like a little nudge. Like you can show like obviously you're interested, whatever, or like hit them up once on your own. You get one free pass, maybe, and that's it. But I truly believe at the end of the day, if it's the right person in the right situation, the guy is going to do the pursuing. I think it always works out better like that. But yes, you can give like one subtle nudge. Like that's it though. I think you should treat men like debt collectors. When a debt collector wants to get a hold of you, they will call, they will email, they will find your mom's landline, they will get a hold of you and they will find a way. And that's how a man should be pursuing a woman. Hot take, sorry. I think it's all in in his court. A man shouldn't be breadcrumbing you and, coming around only when it's convenient for him and just like giving you little crumbs. And you, by the way, should not be picking up those crumbs and trying to turn them into a cake when like he's not even allowing it to be that. Like, I think breadcrumbing's just psychological torture. Like, it's worse than ghosting, because at least ghosting is just silence, like, out of sight, out of mind. And like, it's worse than love bombing. At least love bombing's fun in the moment, right? It's like all that attention. But to me, breadcrumbing is the worst. And if a guy is not fully pursuing, if he's just giving you little crumbs for you to like pick up and try to turn into like this meal, like you deserve more than crumbs. You deserve the whole cake. So do not fall for a guy giving you little pieces of himself, little moments, and trying to hold on to all those little words and texts and moments and promises that don't happen. So hear me when I say this. Stop trying to bake a cake with his crumbs. You deserve more than crumbs. You deserve the entire cake, okay? You are holding on to every little crumb he drops, trying to turn it into a full-blown relationship when he's not even allowing it. You deserve the whole damn cake, not the crumbs, not the I'm busy, not the I didn't see your text. You deserve a guy who treats you like you are the Super Bowl. Because at the end of the day, if he wanted to, he would, and he will, if it's the right person. This was just part 1 of our series, If He Wanted to, He Would, or Would He? And we're just getting started. Next week, I have a very special guest on who's going to be helping us decode the male psyche, and I'm really excited. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be intense, and you better be there. I love you guys. I'll see you next Thursday. Episodes drop every week. Don't be late.